Hi, I am Aniko, I work in KPMG, and we're so proud to be involved in the KPMG Children's Books Ireland Awards this year to help you with the important task of being a junior jury. I will be talking today about Padraig Kenny's The Monsters of Rookhaven. So let's start. What is this book about? This book is about the Monsters of Rookhaven. There you go. That's the summary. No, just kidding. Maybe I will give you a bit more detail. So basically, Rookhaven is a town, and there's an estate next to it that's called also Rookhaven. And in this estate is where the monsters live. And these monsters are living together, so they are some sort of a family. And at the beginning of the book, they are very excited because they're expecting a new member of the family. Of course, the way monsters are born is not the way children or animals are born. As described in the book, they basically emerge from spheres, which is very strange. This is the kind of spheres that a monster would be born, basically. And they are called gates to the ether. So they're not actually born, they're just passing from the ether to this world. Which is interesting because it shows that the monsters are not actually new entities. They are existing entities who just come into this world, the human world in which this house and the town of Rookhaven are. And the reason for this is because monsters are usually metaphors for something. As they are in this book as well. So you have the family of monsters right here at the beginning. They're all very dark and very shadowy. And all of them represent some kind of fear or some kind of condition that we have in the human mind. So you see Odd right here. He has the talent of moving between worlds and even between time. And this is the kind of, escapism that we can engage when we are unhappy with our situation. We just want to think of the past, we want to think of the future, we're expecting something, and we don't want to deal with the present. So for example, that's what Odd can represent. There's another monster, he is called Uncle Bertram, right here. He has the talent of turning into a big bear, and also his characteristic is that he wants to try to experience the world like humans do, but he can't because he's a monster. He doesn't have the same kind of senses. And I assume for me that represents, fear of missing out of something, the fear of not participating in something. So, and this family of monsters has an arrangement with the town, basically that they're not going to attack the town and the townspeople, and the townspeople will basically provide for them. They will provide them with some food. So there is some connection between the two, but it's very limited. So this is the contract between the two of them, and this is what is called a covenant, which is like an oath. It's like a very, very strong contract, and this is what guides their life together. The story itself is set after the end of the Second World War, and as a result there's a lot of pain and suffering in the life of the town. A lot of families have lost a loved one to the war. There is rationing. It's just really a world where there's a lot of anxiety, let's say, and that is important because a key moment and a key symbolism and topic of the book is anxiety and fear and pain. And of course the monsters don't have that because they didn't participate in the war. They live in a very secluded and very safe world, and it is the people who are actually going through the pain and the suffering. So the key narrators, there are 3 of them. One of them is Mirabelle. She is one of the monsters. She is about 13 years old, has the form of a girl. So you see here, this is Mirabelle. she's basically the key narrator. She narrates what happens with the monsters. The second narrator is Freddy. He is the butcher's son, and we see the perspective of the humans. And where the human and the monster perspective meet is Jem. So Jem is an orphan. She is trying to survive in the world with her brother Tom. And Tom gets very sick, and they basically just go up to the house of Rookhaven, the house of the family, and they ask for refuge and they ask for help. And so the first conflict of the book is really about, you know, the monsters' conflict of helping the children or not helping the children, because they're humans, they're not monsters, they're different. The second conflict comes around the middle of the book, and that's where the Malice turns up. The Malice is also kind of monster, but let's say he's the worst monster of all, because he's the kind of monster who eats souls, but not human souls, other monster souls. So he's like preying on other monsters. So that's really the key conflict, because he turns up and he turns the town against the monsters in Rookhaven, and the town decides to march on them and to hurt them. And you know, that is one of the key conflicts. However, when the people of the town arrive to the house, the monsters defend themselves, and basically the Malice is the one who gets hurt, and there is a new peace and a new agreement between the monsters and the town. So this is just an example of the picture of the Malice. He's very, very, very bad. Yeah. And he represents, because he's a monster obviously, he's also a metaphor, so he represents, you know, not trusting people, suspicion, prejudice, everything that destroys love and happiness. So, the activity that I chose for today is about sharing my favorite passage of the book and what I thought about it. So first I will read you the passage. I will try to also put it in the video so that you can read it for yourself. It's very short, and then I will talk about why it is meaningful to me. So the passage that I chose, just to give you context, this is when the townspeople are already at the house of the monsters. They want to hurt them, and one of the monsters, Piglet, he is Jem brings him out to sort of fight the Malice. And Piglet's talent is to reach into people and to face them, their fears and their pain, but he also can share it with other persons. So if he is surrounded by 2 or 3 people, or even more, let's say a whole town, he can really share everybody's fears and anxieties and pain. And that's basically what happens. He reaches into them and he shows everybody, you know, what the other people's pain and anxiety and fears are. And this is the end of that scene. This is what Piglet sees as he passes through the minds of the people of Rookhaven, and as they pass through his, and as their minds touch, they all know each other. They know each other's frailties, their weaknesses, their fears, and in this way they are all really revealed to each other. And the hatred the Malice has sown in all their hearts melts away. Piglet leaves them now, but he carries a part of each of them with him. He knows each part is a gift, and the people of the village are themselves again. And thanks to Piglet, they are free. So this is the part that meant most to me. The reason why I find this the most meaningful passage is because I find it very true. I think the only way to really know someone is to know their weaknesses and their fears. We always try to pretend to be the best version of ourselves, and we try to hide away our weaknesses and our anxiety and our fears. But if the only way to know a person is to know this part of them as well, you know, hopefully you have people you can discuss your fears and anxieties with, your friends, your family, but when was the last time you did? We don't talk about these things because it's painful, because we feel that if we share it, we can get hurt again, and we don't want to get hurt. But the catch is that until we don't share the fears, there is an insecurity, there is a misunderstanding, as there was within the people of Rookhaven. Now that they finally knew each other's fears, they can really build on the trust, and they can really build a better society together. And it's very difficult. It would be easier if there was a monster that could just share it with all of us. We wouldn't have to do the work, but we unfortunately have to do the work. So yeah, that is basically why I thought it was the most meaningful, because I thought it had the most inspection into the human soul and it's in the human condition, you know, who we are as people and what we are like. I hope you enjoy doing this activity at home as well, or in school, and I wish the junior juries the best of luck in making your decision. It will be difficult. Of course, I'm rooting for this book, but I know you will choose very wisely. So have a lovely day, and goodbye.